The Path Illuminated by Moonlight. This story is built around the recounting of a gruesome murder through three different narrators: the son, the father, and the ghost of the murdered mother. Each one narrates the same tragic events from their own perspective. First witness, Joel Hetman Jr. I am Joel Hetman Jr. At the start of the events, I was away at university. One day, while returning to my father's rural home, I encountered a messenger on the road. The man told me that my mother had been murdered. In that moment, my world collapsed. When I arrived home, I found my father in tears. He recounted what had happened on the night my mother was killed. From what I could understand, my mother had been strangled to death by a stranger in her bedroom at midnight. My father had rushed to her side after hearing her screams, but the killer had already fled. The horror of that night deeply shook everyone in the house. Years passed, but my mother's death left a profound mark on me. My father, too, was never the same after the incident. He suffered from nightmares most nights and always seemed as though he was running away from something. Even when he passed away, he carried the weight of my mother's death in his soul. Second witness, Joel Hetman Sr. I am Joel Hetman Sr. It is now time to confess the truth of what happened. For years I kept this secret from everyone, but now I must tell all. That night I returned home early from work. When I arrived at our garden, I saw my wife speaking with a stranger. The moonlight illuminated everything clearly. I could see them plainly. I noticed my wife smiling, and a wave of jealousy surged within me. Who was this man? Why were they so familiar with each other? I stormed inside. The man had already left, but my anger had not subsided. I asked my wife who he was. She didn't answer. Her silence drove me into a frenzy. Before I fully realized what was happening, my hands were around her neck. In that moment, everything ended. When I confronted the terrible truth of what I had done, I crafted a story. I claimed a stranger had entered the house and killed my wife. The servants believed my tale. But every night, I relived that horrific moment. To this day, I don't know if she truly betrayed me or if she was merely the victim of my unfounded suspicions. Third witness, the spirit of Julia Hetman. I am Julia Hetman. I am dead, but I can still speak. I am here to tell the truth. That night, my husband came home early. I was in the garden speaking with a stranger. The man had lost his way and was asking for directions. Our conversation was entirely innocent. But when I saw the look on my husband's face, I knew something was wrong. He came inside, his eyes filled with rage. He asked me something, but I didn't even have time to respond. When I felt his hands around my neck, I realized it was the end for me. I was terrified, but the greater pain was knowing that my husband had misunderstood me. Now my soul roams this world. I constantly revisit the events of that night. What did my husband truly feel when he saw me speaking with that stranger? Did he love me, or was he merely a victim of his possessive instincts? I will never know the answer to that question.